I could tell he wanted to get back in it. I could tell he was looking for a committed organization, ownership, and that gave him the great support that he got here in New Orleans from the Benson family. And I think he definitely found that with the Broncos' new ownership, that they're going to give him what he needs and what he wants. And the thing about Sean is that he knows exactly what he wants and needs. I mean, he knows the kind of tight end he wants and what he's looking for in that left guard. And you can hear Bill Parcells coming out of his voice when he talks. I know you guys are hearing that. And so kind of excited about the players that the Broncos brought in. And I think it's going to benefit them.
I wanted to ask you about the kind of a big picture question about the college quarterback landscape. When you came out, I know Archie's told me, like he said, once you commit, you're staying. You're staying with your commitment. I mean, is it different now because of the expectation where kids are training? I mean, he's told me how many guys are at different schools now when you come.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I mean, we have several quarterbacks that are back again, but they're with a different school, which. I mean, look, it's different. It wasn't available back then, so it never was a thought. But, I understand certainly, look, if you get to a school and the coach that recruited you leaves and they change systems from the spread offense to the wing tee, it certainly makes sense. But I think the goal is to try to get it right the first time, to spend a lot of time making that decision. I mean, at least for me, look, I was very thorough and took all my visits and really, try to analyze it, and ultimately you pray about it. And then I think, you make a decision and you go all in on that decision. And so, but look, there's lots of individual cases, and so I can't speak for everybody, but, I want the kids to have a good college football experience. And, I think there's a kid, he's not here, but a kid that's been here before, I think he's on his fourth school, and so I'm not sure that's maybe the best experience for him. So, but there's a lot of factors to go into it. I know it's tough on coaches. I know coaches spend a lot of time recruiting their own players to stay, so that's a stressor on college football coaches. But that's just kind of the world we're living in right now.
Did any of these kids, Peyton, ever ask you about that? Like seek advice? Because I know you talk to them a lot.
I speak to more quarterbacks about staying for their senior year, probably more than the transfer portal, just because that's what I did. And look, I've never told a kid that you should stay. I tell kids why I did stay, and most of them still leave, even after I tell them why I stayed. The only guy that actually, I'm not saying he took my advice, but kind of heard me, was Kenny Pickett. Called me 2 years ago and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about going out, but tell me why you stayed." And I think he was probably going to be a 6th round draft choice if he came out. Maybe I think he had an extra year because of COVID, and he stayed, and now he's a starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think I'm like 1 for 32 as far as completion percentage. But look, I just try to answer questions. I try to be a resource. Won't tell anybody what to do. And look, I don't know all the factors that might make a kid transfer, and so that's part of it. So I support these kids wherever they are.
Speaking of maybe being a resource, when Derek Carr signed here, he talked obviously about playing against you early in his career, and then Archie reaching out to him when he got here. Just maybe how important that is for you all and the ties you all have here to make sure it is a good, comfortable situation.
Well, yeah, Derek, I've certainly competed against him. I went out to a training camp practice when Gruden was their head coach, and he invited me to come in and spend some time with the quarterbacks. And God, I was immediately impressed with Derek. That he asked me about this. He goes, "Peyton, I used to go to a lot of your games when you played Houston to see my brother play." And I was telling him about this. I said I always wanted to know who was blocked and who wasn't blocked on pass plays. And I said, we had this game against Houston where I had a play action and the backside linebacker blitzed and hit me in the back, and that was on me. I should have known that he was unblocked. And Derek's like, "Oh, I remember that play. It was on the right hash. It was going in about the 25-yard line. It was going toward Houston's locker room." And I'm like, why would he remember that, right? I mean, I remember that. So that tells you he's got a special memory. He's got great recall, which I think is a good sign for a quarterback. He had some good questions for me. And then I really enjoyed this past January, February at the Pro Bowl. It's a flag football game, but Derek was great to spend time with, and look, we had a lot of fun. But he loves football, he loves the game, and I was just pumped when he signed here and reached out to him and connected him with my dad, and answered some questions about New Orleans. I think it's a great pickup for the Saints, and I get excited for these quarterbacks when they have a chance for a second chapter, that it can be rejuvenating for him. He gave the Raiders everything he had, but obviously he and Dennis go back, and I think it's a good marriage.
Peyton. One of the quarterbacks you guys got here, Joe Milton. I guess what are your impressions of him as he kind of takes this next step at Tennessee?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure there's been more excitement to watch a kid throw at this Friday Night Lights tonight than maybe Joe Milton. I mean, he was throwing yesterday with my son, Marshall, who's attending the camp this year, and I mean, like 40 yards is like a little flick for him. It's just a warm-up. So had a good visit with him last night. I've enjoyed getting to know Joe. We text occasionally and pull hard for him, and boy, I'm really proud of him coming in last year after Hendon's injury, and boy, keeping things together, and a great bowl win. And a bowl win can do so much for a quarterback's confidence, especially in his first year really as a starter. So I can tell Joe's confident, and I'm excited about him having a great senior year.
Peyton, when we're talking about a second chapter in Derek Carr's career, what's important to keep in mind for that restart?
Well, look, I mean, you got to come in and earn the respect of your new teammates. You can't go off of what you did at your previous team. It's a start over, right? And quarterback should be the hardest worker in the building, and you can't just come in barking orders just because you're the quarterback. You got to earn that role as a leader, and I know Derek will do that because, like I said, he loves ball and he's all in 100%. So that won't take long, but I think that's important. Just because you played a long time and you played somewhere else doesn't mean that you've kind of earned that right somewhere else. And so I know that was kind of my approach to Denver, and then I think you kind of know when it's time to, hey, I can speak up here. For me, even when I got to Denver, I just didn't say a whole lot early. I was just there to work. Let guys know I'm here for you. And then in September, when we voted on captains, I was voted an offensive captain. That kind of told me, okay, maybe I have earned their respect. I can be more of a vocal leader. So that's the advice I would give people going to a new team, is to be sure you earn the respect of your new teammates.
Speaking of a new teammate,
out of the league, who do you think is the guy now, or like who might get benefit of the doubt on some calls now?
That's a tough question. I think the NFL is in really good shape at the quarterback position. Look, nobody's, what Tom did is just, sometimes when you speak it in words, it doesn't really do it justice, playing as long as he had, and all those Super Bowls and championship games. But I think he's been a great model of consistency, and a lot of young quarterbacks are trying to strive for that, trying to be better each year. So, look, I think Patrick Mahomes is, when you come off a Super Bowl and an MVP year, he's the guy, right? And I think he's the guy people are chasing. Unfortunately for defenses, I don't think Patrick's slowing down. I think he wants to be better this year than he was last year. So if somebody's going to catch him, they got to go catch him, right? He's not coming back, which is good though. I mean, everybody's going to be competitive this year, from Burrow to Allen and Herbert, and all these guys are trying to get where Patrick is right now, just like guys were trying to get where Brady was. So as far as who's getting calls, probably depends on who's nice to the refs in pregame, right? Who's talking to them? Who's having a conversation? You got to know the first name of the ref. Hey, Carl, how you doing? How's your back feeling? You got to do your homework.